eSports. They won one against Fusion. Like, their first 6 games, they were 3-3, and they're like, oh, okay, it's a mid-tier team. But 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, beat Fusion. Here's a win here. TDK definitely showing they absolutely deserve to be in the finals. And as the bans come out fast and furious, Zach is stolen away off the Sejuani ban.
Ooh. You can see there, these picks aren't coming out as quickly from NME eSports now. Before, it was just lightning fast. They don't want the Nidalee as much. They could put Trashy on a Rek'Sai.
And well, they realized Sivir Annie, as the analyst was talking about.
Sivir's very, very important.
Yeah, maybe not the Annie, but Sivir certainly, as they were saying.
And here's the thing, too, is I don't even know if both these supports even play Alistar. They haven't played a single game of it. It's been pretty much Morgana for both of them. Thresh, Janna, Annie.
There is a couple Leona games
from
Smoothie.
But that's only Smoothie. We haven't seen that from Body Drop just yet. I don't know how proficient they are on them.
Just wanted more
and they're more passive supports in general. Both these players are very passive supports. So when they have those engaged champions, it's not because they're trying to force something. It's because they're grouped up as a team, and then they see the opportunity, and their team tells them to go.
Well, looks like the word is going to be go here for NME eSports. The Zac steal, I'm not sure if it was worth it, because the Annie-Sivir combo is here for NME eSports. They're already saying, guys, we kind of want a team fight. And TDK goes, okay, well, we're going to decide in 45 seconds.
Much slower champion select here. Everybody is taking their time with these picks. I think the Zac pick, like you said, may have been a little rushed there, because that seemed very quick. Taking that away from Trashy, we heard Smoothie talk about it.
Yeah.
You can't ban Trashy out.
I think it's worth the experiment, though. I think it's really worth the experiment. They ban the Gragas, they know he plays it. They're going to have Sejuani permanently banned. Here's a Zac steal, like, what if? What if Trashy's not effective now?
Yeah, you haven't seen a whole lot from it, but I'm not sold on this idea.
It's a risk.
He plays Vi, he plays Rek'Sai, he plays these hyper-aggressive champions, and he'll even build Cinderhulk on them.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see if the risk pays off, though, all the same. Corki picked up here for TDK. Also, in my mind, a bad matchup against Sivir. It's pretty easy to spell shield the Q, and with Lissandra picked up, now, those are flex picks. We've seen mid Corki, we've seen top Lissandra. There's the chance this is just a bunch of flex picks, and TDK is setting up for a mid lane Corki.
Yep, he's going to go with the Rek'Sai here. This was his favorite champion for a very long time for Trashy, and now he's kind of forced into it here just to be able to play something in the jungle. He could go Cinderhulk. I was having a conversation with him before. He said it's 50-50 right now between Warrior and Cinderhulk on Rek'Sai.
Interesting.
It really depends on what his role is in the game. So one of the better junglers at having to pivot in the middle of the game at which item to buy.
Oh, interesting. We'll see if it gets to be heads or tails for Trashy as he gets himself into the game. The Aurelia steal to me is very interesting that the NME eSports were so afraid of this champion going through, and Seraph picks up Gnar. Now, interestingly, when Gnar was first played a lot in competitive, people said that Aurelia was the counter pick, that she could get to the back, knock around Gnar for a bit, make his life miserable in the laning phase. Well, Seraph opts into the matchup, and in fact, they opted into Corki versus Sivir, and they opted into now this Alistar that Crumbs and Kobe were talking about here. So, sort of mixed bag of what I consider to be good and bad lane matchups. Overall, this team comp is fairly team fighty, but I really would have rather seen Graves than Corki here.
I could understand that. I could definitely understand that. But the Alistar pickup, Crumbs the Prophet is back and talking about this. You can just go ahead and cleanse, use your ultimate, the Unbreakable Will, to get rid of the stun from Annie, and then just knock people away, cause a lot of chaos. This is the first Alistar game we're going to be seeing from Smoothie here on this team.
And it's worth pointing out, with Alistar kind of loading up the front line, NME eSports don't have a lot of team fighting power yet, right? They got the Sivir Annie, but it's Aurelia, it's Rek'Sai. These guys aren't really, honestly, known that much for their 5-on-5 power, more for the individual power. And in fact, here comes the Cassadin from Inox. He absolutely crushed it on Cassadin last week in their playoff against Final 5. He went 9-1-5 there, and he's back.
I'm a big fan of Inox's Cassadin. I like that he's playing it. It's a champion that has been, he was nerfed a little bit, but then it got buffed, and the perception of this champion that is not strong. It has a very low win rate in solo queue, but when he has a team around him that's playing for the late game, you have an Aurelia, you have a Rek'Sai to make these early moves. A roaming Annie can also get you off the ground. As soon as he hits, once again, the Luden's Echo power spike is really big for Cassadin. If he can get to that point, it's going to be really good for the team. and that's the type of damage mid laner they need right now. Picking a cat right there would have been catastrophic because of the Alistar.
Absolutely would have been. So instead, a whole bunch of individual presence with champions. Aurelia, Rek'Sai, Cassadin, and then Zirene, just to kind of take them off the field and partially just to be interesting playmakers themselves. But a very sort of split-up team fight, or just a split-up team in my opinion here for NME eSports. TDK, it's a different look. A lot of those champions got taken away, but it's their third Lissandra mid in a row, and it's still a team fight comp here for TDK. It's going to be a very interesting match to watch. Guys at home, let us know who you think is going to earn a spot in the Summer NALCS. Tweet hashtag TDK win or hashtag NME win to @LOL eSports. We will update the fan vote shortly in the middle of this game. Guys, it's one game apiece. Either one could take that spot in the NALCS. The loser to join the promotion tournament, we will see who that ends up being. Here we go in game 3.
Right now, TDK, they drafted for the team fights. They drafted Corki for the mid game. And NME eSports, they have a late game comp, but not the Sivir.
That's true. It does give them that one champion of wave clear. Sivir, I think she's actually the best defensive wave clearing AD carry. Maybe, nah, Lucian or Caitlyn are probably better. But I think she's definitely top tier as far as defensive wave clear goes. You say she's not late game, but she can stall you for a while. Inox definitely wanted to get his scaling on. Flares, I think we expect him to do well in the lane matchup, especially with Seraph going TP Smite. Rek'Sai Aurelia has a ton of gank pressure here against a low escape champion. Early game could explode for NME eSports.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see Trashy just clear top side of his jungle and then gank top level 3.
Yeah. No deep wards will actually make sure that they're not going to track Trashy's jungle path.
I like this. This has happened pretty much every game. As Seraph shows top, everybody brawls each other, and then the AD carry backs and then takes his place top. So it looks like Seraph is top. It looks like you have that information, but it's deceptive.
Yeah, neither team wanting to go for deep wards, though, which is very kind of strange to me a little bit, that they'd rather kind of make these lanes blind pick. No team wants to make the push in to get that vision advantage. LuiTG will sneak in to get his lane freeze on. Looks like Body Drop will fill the same role for NME eSports here. There's definitely a lane matchup I would expect TDK to want to avoid, hence the lane swap. And it also means that Seraph, with his Smite Gnar, not only a better jungler than Aurelia, but also holding Smite that Aurelia is not. Lane swap success and lead for TDK.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the idea behind it, is you want to have the situation where the Smite TP top laner is in the jungle.
Instant recall for Otter. Ooh. He built a freeze for Flares.
Who's going to get level 2 off this camp and then just TP into lane.
And Body Drop's going to stop the antics here. Seraph and Kez. Not going to get much done. Okay, Flare's going to stun some camps. He will get 2. He will walk back into the lane. The question is how much experience and gold is lost right here. Kyle already getting hit. Forced to flash away. Yeah. The Body Drop roam is good. Otter swaps back to top lane. Flares will get a lead over Seraph.
Ooh. They warded this too. They're going to come straight into this. It's Trashy, level 2, to Kez level 2, and they also have Body Drop here. He doesn't have a stun up though.
Doesn't have a stun up. It looks like Seraph and Kez afraid to take this camp. And look at this NME eSports making a lot of really interesting early game moves. I like this early game plan from them.
And it's not even punished top lane. They're not even zoning Otter off the wave that hard. He is a little bit down in CS, and it's frozen towards them.
But she learned Q, so like,
he gets whatever. Some. He gets some.
It will push out, though.
But they're not able to completely zone him off with Smoothie. They're not capitalizing off of this as hard as they could, because he's still grabbing some.
Not to Alcerets, too. There's no pressure at all on Otter here, and he's got a Spell Shield anyway, so if he outplays it, it's still easy for him. There's 2 to learn Spell Shield. I actually would if I were Sivir here.
He hasn't learned anything just yet.
I know. I'm waiting for that button to pop up. I guess he's just like, well, we'll see what happens. Either way, though, certainly a nice situation. Flares has a bit of a freeze for himself, but of course, Gnar can push that lane in overall. I will want to be tracking very heavily how that one-on-one matchup goes. Body Drop joins the fray. Spell Shield is learned by Otter after all. And look at that! Bam! Gets use out of it.
Immediately.
Easy.
He also hits level 3, so he gets all 3 of his spells.
Yeah. All right, Seraph, how much can you punish? Flares. So far, last thing in a turret will have a minion lead as well as I believe a small experience lead for himself. Inox versus Kyle in the mid lane. When it was Katarina versus Lissandra, it was pretty rough for Inox and life was miserable. But he got an early gank. He forced the TP and some potions out of Kyle, and on Cassadin, it's a much better life for Inox.
And Inox hasn't had really good laning phases yet today. His Katarina was a 1 game, but he was down in CS. And then in game 2, he also didn't have that stellar of a performance in that mid lane. We're used to Inox pulling out champions that people don't know how to deal with, but look at this. The flash is down.
Ooh, wow, what a good W for Kyle. Trashy can't flash on Burrow if he wanted to. And it's going to be a safe retreat for Kyle. And you're absolutely right. And think about this. Kyle's pulling 2 bans every game. Jason Zed have been banned games 1, 2, and 3. And Kyle is still being a pretty good performer on Lissandra.
You can't throw the 3rd ban at him because you leave Sejuani up. So he's always going to get Lissandra unless you take it away from him.
There we go. Hard Engage comes in on to body drop. This Annie very low on health. 100 health. Ignite is on. Summoner Heal is available for Auto, but he doesn't need to use it. But that's a really nice trade. Just go for the Annie.
Yeah, and I don't even know if that's a trade. That's just he's mugging him at that point.
What did we call it last time?
I don't know.
I guess a duel became a solo. We've actually never figured out what it was.
It was like a trade, but it was like
It's like our 3rd time trying to figure out what a one-sided trade is. We still haven't solved this. Maybe for Summer Split, Aiden.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. There's a VOD somewhere.
All right, right now, though, 40 to 18 minions. It'll be more like 40 to 25, but Otter certainly very far behind. He built a freeze, got to lane late, and he's paying for it here. It does manifest in Flair's lead,
yes,
but it definitely hurts Otter.
Yeah, Flair's up in CS, Inox up in CS as a Cassadin in the mid lane. But this is a scaling team. NME just want the farm on those hyperscalers. They want it on the Aurelia, they want it on the Cassadin, so that they're very relevant at those spikes when they hit that. And actually, arguably, with the new Cassadin, is mid-game spiked really hard. Because once you get level 11, your Riftwalk cooldown goes down substantially.
Goes to 4, right? It's 5, 4, 3.
I think it might actually be a little bit lower than that.
Well, right now it's...
Yeah. I think it goes 6... Oh, wait, 7 right now. Is it?
No, it's base 6 right now.
6, yeah. 6. Is it 642?
Might be 642.
It might be 642.
I like how we're really good at our jobs and we don't know the cooldown of Cassadin.
Well, he's been changed.
I know.
People haven't been looking at him too much.
That's true, I guess.
It's 642, so when he hits that spike, the level 4...
Oh, the flash knockback. Body drop's going to get knocked up by Zach, and there's the first blood. Unfortunately to Smoothie, but it's a pretty big lane lead here.
That Alistar pick is doing a ton of work for Smoothie in the top lane. Just pulling that out of his pocket to deal with body drop. Got the flash, all him the first time. Second time, they get that first blood off of all of Smoothie's work in that top lane.
It's a pretty bold move, but now Kyle getting pushed around. Jumps back away with a flash knockup. The Ignite is on. The self-ult should still mean a kill. Trashy puts in the Q. Inox pops the ulti.
My God.
And Seraph, thankfully, Flares with no mana here.
Kyle just got his flash back up, too. He dies, and then it comes back up. And that kill going over to Inox is really big for them. He has that catalyst already. And this is what's we heard Smoothie talking about. As soon as they get an advantage on Trashy, he groups up with Inox, and then they start creating advantages in the jungle. They'll ward it up, they'll take the camps, and then they'll try. Actually, Kez was talking about it, because they tax Kez.
Yeah, they do. This has been absolutely great. And it is going to be Warrior Enchant Rek'Sai, by the way, in the battle between tank junglers and fighter junglers. Kez, he ganked off of a really good play by Smoothie, but Trashy's been making pretty much his own advantages. Yeah,
Trashy's just trying to farm, trying to facilitate the lanes, facilitate those hyper carries on the team. And in order to do that, you need the supplemental damage to get them those kills early.
And so far, so good. The longsword's coming in here. Kez forced to absorb XP as it looks like they sent Nard towards the top lane. Seraph doesn't want to be in this lane anymore. Like, he recalled and then took Wolves. And Kez is like, I'll fight Flares, I guess.
Top lane Zach, who's in the bottom lane.
Bottom lane Zach, jungle. I mean, to be fair, they're buying the same items anyway.
I know.
They're pretty much replaceable. And one even has flash to get away from ganks. I mean, really, this is just the right choice. TDK have a new jungler.
Do we even call it the top lane role anymore? Because they're just going to go jungle now.
I mean, it's kind of like calling it the bot lane.
And
playing carrying support.
Playing jungler number 2.
Well, I mean, you think about a lot of mid laners play supports now. You know, like for the Juggermaw comp. So
that's true.
You know, support number 1, 2, and 3.
Here comes body drop, looking for Seraph. He has no flash, but immediately backs off. Doesn't get anything for it. Trashy's hovering around the top lane, but he's not going to look for a gank either. And right now, NME have a lot of options because if they don't do anything, they scale up. If Trashy makes moves, they can be punished, but also he helps his lane scale if he does succeed. So TDK, they're trying to hit mid-game power spikes. They aren't forcing anything just yet. You don't, and this is a lot on Kez making moves. But TDK is a very reactionary team.
Well, that's the worry, though, is if you're playing reactionary, thing is, NME eSports did this before. But when they played Cassadin last time, when they played against Final 5, they said, look, we feel confident that we're going to win. In order to secure that we win, we're just going to pick a bunch of late-game champions and wait. And it worked against Final 5. Final 5 weren't able to play tenacious enough to build the leads. If TDK are a risk-averse team, and NME eSports don't give him any easy ways in, then the late-game scaling works, and life is good.
Now we're going to see the 2-on-2s in the bottom lane, since the Dragon is a very real thing that can be taken from both these teams. It wasn't taken in the lane swap.
And how real are dragons? They're kind of mythical creatures.
Dragons are real.
Okay,
They're not real.
Dragons are real. Dragons are real, confirmed on the challenger scene. Smoothie LuigiG in the 2v2. One that maybe is okay now for NME eSports, as Otter is wearing a BF sword in the inventory. But body drop, yeah, he's got flash now, so it's a reasonably safe Annie here. The counter engage damage on the Corki, by the way, would be very high. So even though you could go for Annie, enemy could go for the Corki at the same time. Kyle hits 8 off the blue buff. Kez is 7.
It really looks like Trashy wants to camp this mid lane. Kyle's been a big problem the last 2 games on that Lissandra. If he can get Inox ahead and have him have a good time on this Cassadin to absorb a lot of damage with the Q and get ahead, then he's in a great spot to just keep this Lissandra down and pretty much irrelevant.
And so far, Inox finding some good trades as well. It's actually very hard to trade against Cassadin, of course. When you cast Q, the shield comes on right away. There's no travel time. It just insta-pops like on cast start, I think. So, or at least on cast end, but it's a pretty small frame either way. So Inox not losing any trades to Kyle. Poke test by LuigiG. You can see NME eSports, once again, they're like, hey, you know what? This doesn't feel right. They're very good at sussing out when ganks might be there and playing very defensively as a result. They know Tri versus Pink Ward, they know Kez can jump over a wall. And these guys play back.
They have to respect Smoothie at all times right now. And also, here's the thing is, if Otter spell shields the W, he's in perfect position to get Q'd.
Yeah, it's actually almost you actually can't spell shield an Alistar combo unless they misplay it. It's actually impossible.
Yeah, because if you spell shield the W,
you get pulverized.
You get pulverized.
I guess you could spell shield then flash, but like you still lose flash.
But if you try to spell shield after the W, well you're stunned.
Already stunned, exactly. That's why you bring Cleanse Dog. That doesn't work actually.
Great.
It's knockback.
Great.
Trolled.
That's why you bring it, so you can pop it while you're flying through the air and nothing happens.
Great. Sounds like a correct use of summoner spells. Flares finds the 1-on-1 again. Juggernaut is done for Seraph. But you can see how afraid this guy still is. Of course, Sheen procced Qs do plenty of damage. And it's just a lane freeze. And of course, by not building a Sunfire cape, he doesn't push the wave unnecessarily. And Flares is just completely screwing Seraph out of the matchup that Seraph picked into.
Speaking of matchups that were picked into, this last pick, Cassadin.
Yeah, it's not even going to be damaged. Like, oh, actually, nice
whoa.
This is a bit of a risk. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Kyle wanted that fight. Inox won it.
That's that mid lane Cassadin. A lot of people haven't been playing against it. It's not played that often, and it's extremely powerful. And it spikes. He already has his Rod of Ages. He's going to start working towards his Luden's Echo, and when he hits that item... But wait, look at this body drop. Caught again!
Whole bunch of stuns. Really good CC chaining with Ignite. It's going to be the kill anyway. No assist steal by Seraph. That was perfect CC chaining by TDK.
And that was the TP from Seraph, too. So his top lane turret is under pressure right now. So they're going to trade a turret for a dragon if it's actually enough damage from flares in the top lane. He'll have to wait a couple more waves to get it. So that's definitely dragon there for TDK.
It's definitely dragon for TDK. It's definitely top lane here for NME eSports. And this Flares Aurelia pick paying off very well. Why abandon it when you can play it well yourselves? Flares, the #1 solo queue player in North America right now, beating up on the main carry of TDK. And this will be, he's going to get it. Now, will he bounce the wave? Yep. All right. Trinkets to see if someone ever lurks into the wave, but Flares is going to try to build a freeze here. And Seraph, his life is still miserable. It's an escapeless champion.
He's going for the Gromp now.
Sure.
Cutting his losses.
You're not going to kill lane minions.
I got to get it. Oh,
all right.
Got it.
And he smited too, so he has Gromp buff. Seraph actually is reasonably hard to fight, but I think he's too durable to die still.
But it's a long lane. Trashy already making his presence.
Look at this, yep.
Shifted up here to punish Seraph if he shows up. Flashless Gnar, pretty easy to gank.
Yeah. Seraph continues jungle. He's taking the wolf camp down now. You know, in game 1, I wanted that stat of like minions killed versus monsters killed, and it was like 270 versus like 38. This is going to be like 17 versus 38. Like Seraph having a miserable time in his lane. And he's forced to be a full-time jungler right now because of the matchup. Now, to be fair, as much as it's a bad matchup, it is still Smite, right? He can actually jungle well. So, like, there's a world where you pick a bad matchup and say, F it, jungle.
That's true.
I don't know if it's a world Seraph wants to live in, but it's where he is right now.
Well, I mean, it's much harder to carry from that role. But he's not going to get any counter picks, considering the side choices. Counter picks are right here in this mid lane.
And NOCS so far, so good with this counter pick.
Yeah, he's been in great shape on Cassadin. I think this is, people watch this and they're going to be like, oh yeah, Cassadin's a lot better than I thought. And also, Cassadin just got a buff on live. We're playing on 5-6. 5-7, it's even stronger because stack duration goes down.
Yeah. All right, now NME eSports gonna happily
Open
go
up
for
here.
the flash
Oh!
engage. Goodbye, Kyle. Oh, he pops the ulti though. Maybe he will survive. Inox gonna be in a bad spot. Trashy gets knocked around inside the turret. What a counter engage by TDK. That kill's picked up. Inox has to run. Wow, that was nice.
Everybody just jumped in from off the screen to try and engage that, and it ends up being a 1-for-0. Trashy goes down because he just entered the bounce house and was under the turret.
That's the weakness of fighter junglers. You got early pressure, but you don't have the durability in turret dives. Enemy, though, still with enough damage dealt to stay in the mid lane and knock down a turret for themselves.
Inox is trying to trade as much as possible. You can see he has the Ether Wisp going towards that Luden's Echo. They're not going to lose this top lane turret, but it's 2 turrets to 0 in favor of NME right now. So they have that gold advantage.
Oh, yeah.
They're able to get that for themselves. And now Trashy, he's got that Sight Stone. He's looking for vision control and trying to get more advantages for his team in the early game.
Well, bit hit and miss. Double sight stone for both these junglers here. And I want to see how the War Ritual ends up panning out. Right now, a couple of midline pink wards by TDK to try to stop some of the wards coming down. Interestingly, both mid lane brushes have been pinked by NME eSports. There is absolutely no way, well, to easily spot Trashy coming in for another mid lane gank. You have to ward other parts of the ramp, and those can be bypassed. So the wards tell you where these teams are focusing right now.
Right now, it looks like they're going to focus Kyle because he's up a little too far and everybody's just trying to shove him off of it. Flares has that 50-40 CS advantage in the top lane.
Oh.
He's just trying to press it as much as possible, creating pressure. These are
stun.
both pressure top laners.
Yeah.
He's got that Trinity Force spike too.
He's up 50 minions, dude. This is such a good lane right now for Flares. He's got Boots 1 as well. Give him that extra bit of move speed, and life's going to be pretty good for the guy. I'm going to feel pretty happy overall being an NME eSports fan right here. Or fans of NME eSports should be pretty happy about this game. And they are. Okay, there we go. That kind of came out slowly, but it's okay. I forgive you guys. We'll try it again later on.
They all saw game 2. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
TDK fans in the house, though, these guys need to make a bit of a comeback here in this game. They're getting slowly outscaled. The lanes weren't good either. Maybe they'll make their way in on this one. Otter playing defensively, playing the wave clear game. This is just fine for NME eSports, though. Wait it out. Get the Ether Wisp. Get the big items in. I think the top lane matchup gets even worse with Triforce Aurelia. TDK, though, nicely played. They will push down this side lane. And the advantage will be ceded. But by the way, top's getting pressured out. There's not a lot of guys here to defend. It's a 4-man push with Sivir not here in the battle. Top lane turret, a lot of damage coming through. Seraph and Kyle are here on defense. Alistair joining the fray soon, and in fact, they want to start the fight right now. Trashy, again, gets aggressed on. He will be the kill. No! They just can't get any damage. Finally, Ignite takes the kill down, but it's already 2 in for Kyle. Flares in the backside, tries to get some damage down with the stun, but it's not going to be enough. However, Inox has something to say about this one. It's a 2 for 2. What else is going to happen? Smoothie hits the stun into the wall. A lot of damage coming through. Flares still just will not take lethal damage. The heal comes in for Otter, and NME eSports somehow limp out of this fight with a kill lead.
That was all over the place.
Yeah, it was.
Chaotic fights. You heard it on the analyst desk. That's what these games are all about right now. Back and forth, evening up the kill score there. And NME, just by the skin of their teeth, it's really just the spike Cassadin, the fact they have the Trinity Force as well, and the way these fights are going, it just, they get so close. Pressuring the turret, and you see here, Seraph, he's like, I want to go in. He jumps in. They stack it up. Look at that. Where's the Gnar? There it is. Finally comes out, shoves Trashy into the turret, and this has been the story of him this game. But goes down. They cleaned up too very quickly, but then Inox, he's still alive. This Cassadin is spiked at this point. He has the Rod of Ages. He's close to that next item, and he's off the ground. He's at level 11. He's got that 4-second cooldown on it. It's so fast. He's so mobile, but look at this. Another fight. Here comes the TP in the back line.
It's a big Irelia in the back line. Goes in right away. Flares gets locked up, though, and just exploded. No magic resist on this Irelia. Dies to the Corki Lissandra. Out goes enemy eSports, and TDK is going to get this blue buff.
Too bold there. Way
hold on.
too bold. Inox.
He just hit Control B.
He's kind of bold himself right there. Control B? Oh my god. Oh my god. I was like, is that an in-game command? Oh, wait.
That's bold in pretty much every word editing program ever. 2 Dragons, though. TDK, they get the fight lead. They will give away blue buff, but guess what? The comeback is maybe happening. 1,400 gold down only. And Dragons mounting. This Corki, by the way, is getting so much farm. Everyone is hiding away from Louis GG, and this is a huge Corki.
Or Louis GG is hiding away from them. He's been doing that these last 3 games. He's Vayne split pushing. Sivir goes for this crazy build, but he's still very relevant.
Yep.
And he's getting so much CS. Louis GG, TDK may have found a way to make this player actually shine on the roster because he was struggling so much during the regular season.
But he's shown marked improvement late on in here. Corki's going to be a big threat here. And until enemy eSports respects this and actually buys some magic resist, this Triforce Corki's going to do a whole bunch of work in fights. Right now, there's almost none of it in the inventory. Still no Ether Wisp yet for Inox. And that just might be the pivot point at which this game really turns around and becomes all about Cassadin winning all the fights by himself.
Luden's Echo done 4-0-1.
There we go.
And here's the thing about Luden's Echo Cassadin is Luden's Echo gives you 20 stacks every time you cast a spell, but it also gives you distance traveled as extra stacks on it. So when you Rift Walk on Cassadin, it gives you 20 plus 15 is how much the distance is the 500 distance. So you're getting 35 every time you use your R. And when it goes down to a 2-second cooldown, you're basically getting Luden's Echo every 3-4 seconds.
Yeah, not to mention your other spells are just walking around. I mean, you're getting a ton of extra damage this way. And it's something to be concerned about here when it hits 4 different targets and has its own AP ratio, right? It's doing 100 and I'm going to say 40-ish damage right now.
And the great thing about it, too, is Luden's Echo, people take into account, like, you can cast a whole bunch of spells and get it up, but in order to use it, you have to cast another spell.
Yeah.
Cassadin pretty much always has a spell available to him with his ultimate.
Very true. The turret trade, enemy eSports wanted to stall this one out and trade out of turrets, spread the game out a little bit, which is pretty good when you consider you've got Irelia to chase down long lanes, Lissandra a bit immobile without her E, and of course a Cassadin just to like run around the map and make all kinds of crazy plays. Enemy eSports looking for an open map, looking for objective trades.
Death Rush here from TDK. No TP from Flares, so if they can get in here and force something.
You can't go for Inox. You can maybe try for Body Drop playing farther enough back. Looks like he is going for his own righteous glory here.
Yeah, he is half the deaths of the team at the moment. They've been picking on that lane. But also mid lane, Kyle, about half the deaths for his team as well.
That's true.
So you can see the focuses here on who they're trying to get ahead. But here's the thing is Louis GG isn't even a part of those kills on Smoothie. Or onto Body Drop.
Nope.
It's really Smoothie doing a lot of the work. He's got 100% kill participation right now on that Alistar.
Smoothie is doing absolutely great this game, which is so impressive. TDK is a team that practices and plays in Korean. Smoothie, not a Korean speaker. Kez and Seraph, I guess, together have to translate for him in major team talks. Otherwise, you just hear a bunch of Korean yelling in team fights. He's got to kind of do his best with instincts, and Smoothie has been absolutely great at making plays so far in this game.
Yeah,
massive props to him.
And that's the thing is Kez pretty much translates for Smoothie in the moment when he can, but that's easier when the game is snowballing in their favor.
Sure.
When they get behind, when they enter a deficit, it's kind of a rock slide for them because then he doesn't get things translated for him. He doesn't always know what to do in the moment because the mentality is on, oh no, I got shut down in the jungle. How am I coming back? I can't focus on you right now, Smoothie, because I have to work on my own play. So right now, it's even and still anybody's game.
Right now, the TDK looks like it's their game here as they keep pushing on in. They nearly tie the gold lead up with their 3rd outer turret kill. And of course, they hold the dragon and kill lead as well. Enemy eSports still wanting to scale up with their team composition. But a lot of room still to go. Flares will get down to the bottom lane by himself, but he can't really push without getting spotted out. And maybe collapsed upon. Inox just playing wave clear for himself.
He's got 70 CS up right now over Seraph.
But yeah, I mean, the problem is though, Flares can't do anything with this lead though. He can chuck Seraph low, but he knows he can't dive. He knows TDK seems to own the rotates, but look at this though. Wow, Inox.
He doesn't have enough for another Rift Walk.
Flash ult comes in, they're re-engaged by Annie. Kyle is gonna burn down with Ignite, but there's the shield from Alistar. Kyle's gonna survive it. Wow. Once again, Smoothie coming up huge for the team. Inox forced to flash away on this one. Flares, though, does get time to split push, just creating pressure for Flares to solo carry the game. They're re-engaged. Inox Rift walks away of this one. Otter in a bad spot as well. Bot lane turret goes down. Flash used by Otter. NME eSports run away as fast as they can. Summoner spells to buy a turret kill.
And that's pretty much damage control at that point. The fact that NME got away unscathed is huge. Because they blew Seraph's TP, it was a really good TP too. If he had gotten a re-engage and a way to get into that cluster of people, that would have been TDK swinging the entire game in their favor.
Yeah, it would have been pretty crazy, but thankfully for NME eSports, they do get away, and I talked about a little bit what the Sivir would do. It's a bunch of individual players, Aurelia, Rek'Sai, Cassadin. Sivir can help you get in and out of those crazy team fights that you might want to avoid. I think Bodydrap should go for Talisman of Ascension himself to add to that in case the Sivir's not there. Help the team get away from these team fights that they're going to have a hard time winning.
He's going for Righteous Glory at the moment.
Yeah, which lets you go into fights, but I really think they need to get out more often.
That's what Mom tells me.
That was great! That was so good!
I was going to say that's what she said, but...
Whoa. You ruined it!
But
it was wholesome and hilarious!
She is my mom!
No.
So it works. I do need to get out more often.
You spent too much time with me, man.
Too much time with League. But you can see the Dragon's live right now. Flares still split pushing. 80 CS up over Seraph. Seraph not able to stay in that lane. He's been forced to group up with his team in case they start a fight.
Well, there's a chance for a pinch from NME eSports. TDK stuck inside the Dragon Pit. What are they going to do with this? They've got Dragon 3.
Third Dragon.
They can all escape the walls. All right.
Right into Flares. Is he going to do anything about this? No, he's going to walk away and go back to farming.
No, it's still a risky fight to take. NME eSports. Here's the timer, though. By 39 minutes into this game, Dragon 5 would likely have died. And that would give TDK all the late game power they need to win any fight they get into in reasonable situations. NME eSports still feel like the team that are trying to split the map up and take it slow. Try to split push objectives, try to buy time for the late game, but they've only got 11 minutes left to buy.
It's true. They have to get their spikes, they have to force them, they have to use them, they have to find the fights before that 5th dragon comes about, because that's just huge for TDK. The next few dragons NME have to show up at and have to fight.
Well, speaking of having to fight, though, Seraph goes in onto Otter, but Flares comes back around. Knock up in from Alistar, and there's the rest of the team. Annie shows up for a 2-man stun, but TDK are there first. You got to be a bit careful as they dive on in, and looks like out they go. Flares not required to flash. Sivir ulti all they needed to escape from this one. No ultis actually got used by NME eSports. That's actually pretty impressive.
Re-engaging.
There's the re-engage. They do catch Flares one more time, who jumps back in towards Kez to buy himself some more time on the escape. Inox a bit of damage to the front lines and a lot of AoE coming through. Otter chunked out by Louis GG, wins the fight as Corki. The 1-for-0 means NME eSports going to have to be a bit afraid.
Inox couldn't find a way into that fight. He was skirting around the outside, and he just couldn't find his way in. Trashy got a really good knock-up on multiple people. It was like three or four there, but he still couldn't jump into all of them because he just would have been massacred. Kyle didn't even have to blow his ultimate either.
Wow, really good things then. TDK showing that they definitely have the team fight power here. You might take the Sivir Annie, but guess what, guys? Still good for us.
That re-engage onto Flares immediately just causing so much havoc. And you can see Inox jumps in, but he's like, wait, no, I can't be here. Kyle's walking up as if he wants to ult him. And beautiful. That was actually, looked like a 5-man there from Trashy, knocking up almost everybody on the team. But yeah, Inox basically got no damage off in that fight, just that initial burst.
Yep.
But he can't re-engage because Kyle saves that ultimate for one person. He's got one person in mind every time.
Yep.
And we saw it in the previous game where he saved it for Otter, and it was exactly what he needed to do because the fight was so long and drawn out.
Well, keep in mind what happens in this game, though. So, you're right. Inox, he got to press a QE and then be really afraid. Death Cap comes in soon for Cassadin. And at a certain point, this game looks like game 1, where you have enough burst that they're all practically dead, and you essentially have resets of Cassadin having a short kill and ulti to just like kill, 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 and you snowball the game down.
What I really like about this series, just as a whole, and I was thinking about it because TDK and NME, this is week 1 matchup, where NME 2-0 TDK. TDK are showing a lot more diversity, a lot more. They aren't just rolling over, they look more like a team now. You can see their growth throughout the Challenger Series and how they've come together to make these team comps where they're like, okay, Seraph can carry us from the top lane. Louis, he can just be his own guy, split push, get 60 CS over his lane opponent, and he'll be fine. Now, they're putting it against the #1 team in Challenger, and it's a huge struggle for them.
Oh, speaking of huge struggle, those Smoothies stunned up against the wall. The rest of the team as well. Inox forced to get away from this one, but the counter engage into Kyle is a lot of damage. Looks like this is one that is going for NME eSports. 1 kill picked up. Make that 2 as Sarah falls. Smoothie going to be the 3rd, I think, on this one. And Flares on the chase slows down Kez. He's going to get split up in a Blau Blitz, and Flares will survive the encounter. Louis GG is 1 Rift Walk away from dead. Inox misses the Force Pulse.
Doesn't have the mana yet.
Almost. It's slowly ticking down. But it's a 4 for 0 and Baron's on the table. In goes NME eSports. That was the fight they wanted.
Immediately capitalizing off of the overextension. They didn't pick up Inox either. They dove him, couldn't get him. That's Baron for them, and NME now blow the game wide open because they'll have this Baron while Dragon spawns so they can claim that objective, shove out waves, and stop the Perpetual Dragon 5.
Absolutely.
TDK.
This is a really good moment for NME eSports. They're up 5,000 gold. They got to recall with Baron buff, get full health and mana, and do whatever they want now with no counterattack from TDK. This fight was what it was all about.
Inox went way too far forward there, and it looked like he was going to get punished, but the follow-up, body drop, stunning the back line. Kyle, Louis GG can't get their damage onto Inox. Without that stun from body drop onto the back line, Inox would have eaten more spells, more auto attacks, and he would have dropped. Then the follow-up engage, the chase down from Sivir and from the rest of the team. Really well played there by NME, but it was really body drop's ultimate there that was the big game changer.
Absolutely massive then, and good job body drop. The supports, really big factors in this series right here, especially this game as well. Setting up the fights and making almost all the plays here. Flares at level 16 on Aurelia, 2 levels above Seraph, still 70 to 80 minions up as well. The individual plays on the Aurelia going quite nicely. His split push power has been great as well, and for split pushing all game, pretty high kill participation as well. About to be a set though. There's a nice knock-up. There's the ulti as well. Flares has almost nowhere to go on this one. Challenging smite in, goes for Kyle, takes the kill actually, and still survives. How about a re-engage? Timbers comes down. Knockout from Trash. They push him around, but Louis GG, then a half health summoner heal. Who cares? Gets the kill picked up. Another one on Anar, and this is a triple kill for Otter. More coming in as Smoothie takes the cake. Gets a quadra kill picked up on this one. Huge. And NME eSports can do anything they want.
Huge advantage there for NME eSports. The Aurelia passive, making it so that the ultimate from Kyle came off so quickly and turns it around with a stun. They can get the inhibitor, and they have a Baron buff wave here. They can get the game.
This could be the game ending 2 to 3 minutes after that one climactic team fight. Who needs dragons? You can take a Nexus. NME eSports going to take this game, and they are now 1 away from joining the North American LCS.
All these games are in the 30-minute marks. They just blow up mid-game. Like you said, 1 game away, and you could see it on their faces. They want that LCS.
Man. Inox's Cassadin. He brought it out in his first game of the Challenger Series against TDK. Went 16-1-9. He brought it out last week of the playoffs. Went 9-1-5. Brings it out here, goes 5-0-7. We talk about Inox's Nidalee, but Inox's Cassadin is like 79-1-75. It's a small exaggeration, but it's essentially his impact on the game.
Pretty much. It's very close to that. He just does so much for the team. In this game, he actually won that mid lane. As soon as he got some attention from Trashy, which we hadn't been seeing too much of in the previous 2 games.
Yeah.
Trashy was off on side lanes trying to just tank up and make sure that everybody's good. Here, Trashy played an aggressive jungler that was his style for the longest time, was that aggressive, forceful jungler that gets his lanes ahead. As soon as he got Inox ahead, he knew what to do with that lead. Solo kill Kyle in lane. Snowball harder. and then play on powerspike. And I thought that was really good and well done by NME.
That's what Trashy said about his playstyle. I got to run into him before the matches started today, and I talked to him about all the great Danish players we have, and he's like, yeah, you know, I've played against Svenskeren, I've played against Santorin, and he's like, I normally was a carry jungler, much like Svenskeren, but, you know, Flares wants to carry, Inox wants to carry, Otter wants to carry. I just have to get there and get other people ahead and play a supportive jungler. Well, it turns out he's going to get his teammates ahead, and they're going to do really well. So props to everyone here on NME Esports for that win.